तो आप सभी लोगों का बहुत बहुत स्वागत है हमारे पाठशाला में। चिर परिचित गुरुवार के दिन, गुरु के दिन, ज्ञान के दिन, आप सभी लोगों का बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। तो चलिए मित्रों, सबसे पहले हम लोग शुरू करते हैं अपने दैनिक घोषणा से, डेली डिक्लेरेशन से। लक्ष्य: हम लोगों को वित्तीय साक्षरता के बारे में शिक्षित करने और वित्तीय स्वतंत्रता के दृष्टिकोण के लिए हमारे 7 कार्यक्रमों के माध्यम से वित्तीय रूप से आत्मविश्वास और तनाव मुक्त जीवन जीने के लिए सशक्त बनाने के लक्ष्य पे है। हम दुनिया के सर्वश्रेष्ठ और उत्तम पेशे में हैं, क्योंकि हम तभी समृद्ध होते हैं जब हमारे ग्राहक समृद्ध होते हैं। हम ग्राहक को पहले और स्वयं को बाद में रखते हैं। हम जीतने के सिद्धांत के अनुयायी हैं। समय पर पैसा: हम हमेशा यह सुनिश्चित करते हैं कि हमारे ग्राहक हमारी वैज्ञानिक धन प्रबंधन प्रक्रिया के माध्यम से सही समय पर उनके लिए उपलब्ध धन की सही राशि प्राप्त करें। नीति पालन: हम पूरी कर्तव्य निष्ठा के साथ सभी व्यावसायिक नैतिकता का पालन करते हैं। जीवन के लक्ष्य: हम अपने ग्राहकों को उनके जीवन लक्ष्यों को प्राप्त करने में मदद करके अपने सभी जीवन लक्ष्यों को प्राप्त करते हैं। हम चुंबकीय वित्तीय पेशेवर हैं और हमेशा बहुत सारे ग्राहकों को आकर्षित करते हैं, क्योंकि हम लोगों के जीवन में मूल्य जोड़ते हैं। हम जीतने के लिए पैसे का खेल, संपत्ति का खेल, स्वास्थ्य का खेल, जीवन का खेल खेलते हैं। न केवल अपने लिए बल्कि अपने ग्राहकों के लिए भी धन और प्रचुरता पैदा करने का हमारा स्पष्ट इरादा है। हम लोगों को वह प्राप्त करने में पर्याप्त मदद करते हैं जो वे चाहते हैं, और उन्हें क्या चाहिए, और इसके परिणाम स्वरूप हमें वह मिलता है जो हम चाहते हैं। हमारे ग्राहकों, हमारे संगठन और हमारे सभी हितधारकों के लिए बाजार में बड़े पैमाने पर मूल्य जोड़कर हम सफल हो सकते हैं। हम जहां भी जाते हैं और जिससे भी मिलते हैं, हम हमेशा लोगों के जीवन में प्रेरणा, सशक्तिकरण और बदलाव लाते हैं। हम काम करते हैं क्योंकि हम चुनते हैं और इसलिए नहीं कि हमें करना है। हम वांछित जीवन शैली जीने के लिए पर्याप्त निष्क्रिय आय अर्जित करते हैं और हम आर्थिक रूप से मुक्त हैं। तो आइए दोस्तों, हम एक जोरदार हाईफाई अपने फ्रंट में बैठे हुए सभी सदस्य गणों को करते हैं और अपने इस सत्र की शुरुआत करते हैं। तो सबसे पहले हम अपने बरगद के वृक्ष यानी हमारे धर्म सर को यहाँ पे डायस पे बुलाना चाहते हैं। धर्म सर, आपका स्वागत है, डायस आपका है, आप आइए और आज के सत्र की शुरुआत करिए। धन्यवाद।
हेलो, थैंक यू सो मच, थैंक यू सो मच। एंड मैं आई विल ट्राई टू बी फास्ट, क्योंकि आज काफी पीपल आर एक्सपेक्टिंग धमाकेदार सेशन टुडे, जिसको हमने एडवर्टाइज किया है। बट बिफोर दैट आई जस्ट वांटेड टू वेलकम एवरीबडी फॉर द ईयर एंड स्पेशल महापाठशाला। महापाठशाला ये ऐसा प्रोग्राम होता है जहाँ पे हम लोग मेंबर्स एंड नॉन मेंबर्स को बुलाते हैं। अदरवाइज वी हैव अ नॉर्मल पाठशाला दैट वी डू। So a lot of people who are here today, जो आज बैठे हैं, are perhaps first time they are meeting us. तो थोड़ा बहुत हमारे बारे में आपको बताना चाहूँगा without taking too much of time. As a company, if you see what is next level education, तो हम we are a company which believes in having a vision and following values. तो ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। विजन एज इन हम लोग चाहते हैं कि हम वी मेक अ चेंज इन द वर्ल्ड, वी मेक अ चेंज इन द लाइव्स ऑफ पीपल, एंड बाय चेंजिंग द वर्ल्ड, बाय चेंजिंग द लाइव्स ऑफ पीपल, वी विल अर्न आवर रिवॉर्ड्स। सो वी डोंट बिलीव इन फर्स्ट लुकिंग एट एनी काइंड ऑफ रिवॉर्ड्स। दूसरा है एथिक्स, इंटीग्रिटी और वर्क कल्चर। ये हम वी बिलीव दैट दिस इज द फाउंडेशन ऑफ ग्रोथ for anybody and everybody. Therefore, we believe that our behavior is very important, and the way we behave, it reflects our culture. We certainly discourage trolling when somebody is doing a program, because the program has been designed keeping in mind the time that we have, and it will be delivered in the designed manner. So nothing can, we can't break the momentum. So I would request people not to please troll. Trolling is not a good habit. Our purpose is to bring out the best in you. Today we've got fantastic CFP results. Almost, 20, not almost, actually 20 or 24 people have cleared it, but we'll have a separate segment to just celebrate that after some time. So basically, the next level of education for MFD is who we are. Going forward, our programs that we do, one is we have a Pathshala, which is a year-long program. It's a continuous learning platform. People who join Pathshala, they get a mobile app. They also get a free course called the FCDP program and many other things. Pathshala has been almost a 5-year-old property, and it is growing in strength year after year. MFP and UFP are our flagship courses. Are courses where we actually help people build themselves as people, apna khud ka improvement karna hai, because we believe that before we go about improving anything, pehle we need to introspect and change ourselves. Our learning, our changing ourselves is the first step to any growth. So we focus on the self and we focus on the business, not in the business. How the business is going to be structured, how the team is going to be structured, whether it's a corporate, so what kind of a corporate it should be, how to automate the company, how to build the processes and systems. These are things that we do in MFP, and in UFP, it's a coaching program. We implement it for our members. Everybody knows about CFP. So CFP is a very popular program, and today we'll be celebrating the CFP results. Our results have been always above 80%, and we perhaps are running the biggest CFP program in the country. The maximum number of students we have. We are also doing a PMS program right now, and we are running a second batch. And then there are several technical programs that we have designed with specialists. People who are specialists, like we have Mr. Karan Datta today, we have Mr. Vijay Mantri and people like that. With them, we collaborate and offer technical programs. The agenda for today is, I will introduce you to a very simple market management calculator, which I will talk about later. Then we will be inviting Mani Bhai of Arthamitra, who will talk a bit about the Fin Mela that he is going to, that is going to be that event, which is a big event that is going to be in the month of January. I think it's the 11th, 12th, and 13th. So he will talk a bit about that. And then finally, we have Amrit Kaal, Future of India by none other than Karan Datta. I will come once again to introduce Karan Datta to you before the session. Of course, he doesn't need much of an introduction for most of the people, but still I will do that. Finally, here comes the market management calculator that I want to talk to you about. This calculator is a very simple calculator. And before I show you the calculator, let's understand one thing, that source of returns are equity, debt, and the third source of returns is volatility. So only when we take advantage of volatility can we create that extra alpha. Okay, so that is what this calculator will help you. So let me show you the calculator. Let me just stop this share and open the Excel sheet. So can you all see this calculator? Praveen or someone, can you confirm?
Yeah, it's
visible. Yeah, it's a very simple calculator, friends. Let's say during.
Sir, please, it's not visible as of now. Please, please
it's not,
share
it's not,
yeah,
okay, no problem. I will again share it. We'll share it. Is it visible now? One sec.
Yeah, sir, it's visible now. Please go ahead.
No, it's not visible. It's now. Is it visible now? Is it visible?
Yeah, it's visible now.
It's visible.
Yeah. So okay. So friends, if you see over here, during COVID, markets corrected by 30%, right? The markets corrected by 30%, and at that time we were all in a shock. We were wondering, markets, when will it regain its old levels? Okay, so obviously, if it had to regain its old levels after a 30% fall, it had to climb 42.86%. So all you need to do is put a number over here, 30% market fall. What is how much time it takes to regain? Now, what happens during COVID time when the markets had crashed? There could have been many naysayers or pessimistic people जो बोलते थे कि market एक साल में revive नहीं कर पाएगा, market को 2 साल लगेगा revive करने को या 1.5 साल लगेगा revive करने को. तो just see, अगर market को तभी 2 साल भी अगर लगता revive करने को, and somebody had invested at that time, फिर भी उसको 19.52% return मिलता था just on revival. So if you are not invested and you invest at a low, just on plain revival, अगर 2 साल भी लग जाए, फिर भी it is CAGR of 19.52%, which is a very, very big CAGR. And if it takes even 3 years to revive, सोचो कि 3 साल भी लग जाता revive करने के लिए, फिर भी लोगों को 12% रिटर्न मिलता था। यू कैन ऑल्सो पुट डेसिमल्स ओवर हियर, 2.5 साल अगर लगे तो क्या, व्हाट विल बी द रिटर्न्स? हियर इट इज 15.33। अगर 1.5 साल लगे तो क्या रिटर्न है? ये पुट हियर 26.84। अगर मार्केट 20% से टूटा है तो 16.04। अगर मार्केट 10%, 15% से टूटा है तो इट इज 11.44। अगर 1.5 साल में रिवाइवल है, 2 साल में रिवाइवल है तो फिर भी 8.47 है, और 1 साल में रिवाइवल है तो 17.65% है। So this is a very, very simple calculator which you can use when you are talking to your clients, especially when the markets are down. Okay, and you can tell them that why do you invest when markets are down? Because volatility actually creates maximum alpha if you take good advantage of it. I agree we can't time the market, but there is something called optimization. You can try and optimize, come as close as possible to something which is right. So that is all that I wanted to talk about. I'm stopping my sharing here and I'll just go back to my slide. So as I said, we have celebrations, we have a separate segment for this. And I would like to thank everyone for paying attention to this calculator. I will share this calculator with all of you in the community. I will share a link that takes you to another group. That group already has 220, 230 people. You all come into that group. In that group, I will keep sharing the calculator from time to time as more people join. Also, now let me invite Mani Bhai and to talk about the Arthamitra's program, the Fin Mela. But before that, I must say that as an industry, we all believe that nobody is our competitor. Like advisors also think that we are not competitors of each other. We are only trying to grow the country. Like that, even in the training business, we don't see anybody as a competitor. There's a lot of work to be done in personal finance in a country like India. And the number of people who are there actually are less. We need even more people. So people like Mani Bhai are doing wonderful work. Even Next Level Education, when we started our journey with Swami Sir, we worked very closely with Mani Bhai, and because of his help, we have been able to grow so much. So we are always grateful to him. And I'm very happy to invite him on this platform and ask him to speak about his event. And all yours, Mani Bhai. I'm just stopping my sharing, and there, Mani Bhai, welcome. Please introduce your program. You are muted right now. Yes, Mani Bhai, all yours.
Yes. Thank you very much, sir, for this opportunity. दोस्तों, जैसे धर्म सर ने बताया कि भाई इंडस्ट्री में बहुत कुछ काम करना है एजुकेशन पे, और हम सबको सीख के जैसे आगे बढ़ना है, तो बोथ आर ऑन द सेम पेज एंड बोथ ऑफ आर डूइंग वंडरफुल जॉब। तो आप सभी का मैं धन्यवाद करता हूँ। दोस्तों, अभी जैसे धर्म सर ने बताया कि हमारा जनवरी में एनुअल इवेंट भी हमारा होने जा रहा है, और उसका डेट है 11, 12, 13 जनवरी, एग्जैक्टली ऑन द ईव ऑफ काइट फ्लाइंग। सो अर्थ मित्र गुरुकुलम का ये 3 दिन का इवेंट है दोस्तों, 11, 12, 13 जनवरी। ये इवेंट बेसिकली 4 पार्ट में डिवाइडेड है। सबसे पहले तो एक दिन पूरा एक्सपो रहने वाला है, जिसमें करीबन 65 प्लस इंडस्ट्री के वेंडर्स आएंगे, अपनी प्रोडक्ट का शोकेस करेंगे, और उनके छोटे मोटे सेशंस भी होंगे, जिसको हम ब्रेकआउट सेशंस बोलते हैं। तो ऑन 11th वी विल हैव आवर एक्सपो विथ मोर देन 65 वेंडर्स। एक्सपो के दिन शाम को हमारा ओपनिंग सेरेमनी होगा, और देयर आर स्पेशल सेशंस विद सक्सेसफुल एमएफडीज। ऐसी 6 सक्सेसफुल स्टोरीज हम लोग ढूंढ के लेके आए हैं ऑल ओवर इंडिया, जो हमको कहीं ना कहीं मोटिवेट करेगी। उनसे कुछ ऐसी सीखने हमको मिलने वाला है दोस्तों हमारी इवेंट में कि मतलब हमको इंस्पायर करेगी इनकी 6 सक्सेसफुल स्टोरीज। ठीक है। रात को हमारा नेटवर्किंग रहेगा। 12 तारीख को सुबह में फुल डे कॉन्फ्रेंस, जिसमें एएमसी के स्पीकर्स, सीईओज, फंड मैनेजर्स वहां पे रहेंगे। एंड द स्पेशल अट्रैक्शन ऑफ दैट इवेंट इज अ पैनल डिस्कशन विद द टाइटल ऑफ म्यूचुअल फंड। तो सही है, लेकिन क्या सिर्फ वही है? तो हमें दोस्तों बहुत सारी यूनिक ऐसी प्रोडक्ट्स भी मार्केट में अवेलेबल है, जो टाइम टू टाइम आपको ये प्लेटफॉर्म पे भी बताई जाती है। तो ऐसे एक पैनल डिस्कशन हमने वहां पे प्लान किया है। शाम को अगेन म्यूजिकल नाइट रहेगा, गाला डिनर रहेगा, और क्षमा चाहता हूँ हमारा स्टेट ड्राई स्टेट है, तो वहां पे मॉकटेल पार्टी नहीं होगी। सो और 13 तारीख को यूनिक सेशंस हैं, जो इंडस्ट्री के नॉन एएमसी स्पीकर्स हैं, जो ट्रेनर्स हैं हमारे, जिसको हम फॉलो करते हैं, एंड मिस्टर करण दत्ता जो आज हमारा सेशन लेने वाले हैं, ही इज आल्सो वन ऑफ द स्पीकर्स ओवर देयर। सो 8 ऐसे वंडर्स हम ढूंढ के लेके आए हैं, जो हम सब कभी भी मिस करना नहीं चाहेंगे। तो दोस्तों, मैं आप सबको इनवाइट करता हूं हमारे इस इवेंट में आने के लिए, और आपको ऐसी यूनिक चीज यहाँ से आप लेके जाएंगे। और सबसे बड़ा जो हमारा एडवांटेज है, हम सब फोकस करते हैं नेटवर्किंग पे। अपने दोस्तों से जो चीज सीखने के मिलेगी ना, शायद क्योंकि वो बंदा मार्केट में जाता है, वो बंदा फील करता है, उसके पास रियल एक्सपीरियंस है। दैट इज व्हाट वी बिलीव कि आपको नेटवर्किंग से और यारी दोस्ती से जो चीजें सीखने मिलने की, वो शायद बहुत अद्भुत होगी। तो मैं आप सभी को आमंत्रित करता हूँ अर्थ मित्र गुरुकुलम के इवेंट के लिए, एंड उसका एक लिंक है, वो लिंक मैं चैट बॉक्स में शेयर कर देता हूँ अभी। तो एनीबडी हु आर यस, लिंक इज देयर। थैंक यू रितु फॉर शेयरिंग। हियर इज द लिंक, and friends, the cost is 12,999 including 2-night stay, and we are expecting around 600 to 700 participants across India. So it will be the first event of mega year, upcoming year. तो आप सभी का स्वागत है वो इवेंट के लिए। मैं आप सभी को वहां पे ईगरली वेट करूंगा। और एक यूनिक चीज, जो भी पाठशाला के मेंबर है, पाठशाला के जो भी अपने मेंबर हैं, उन सबके लिए एक स्पेशल डिस्काउंट कोड मैं दे रहा हूँ, डिस्काउंट लिंक मैं दे रहा हूँ, जो कि धर्म सर और नेटवर्क ये एनएलई टीम अपने ग्रुप में शेयर कर देगी। सो मेंबर्स, प्लीज टेक अ नोट ऑफ इट, एंड थैंक यू वेरी मच धर्म सर। दैट्स डन फ्रॉम माय साइड। थैंक यू करण भाई, सी यू देयर एट जनवरी। एंड स्वामी सर, a special thank you to you as well.
Most welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mani bhai. Because
Thank
of
you.
I'm in next level.
Thank you, Vikas bhai. Thank you, Vikas bhai. Over to you, Dham sir.
Yeah, Praveen, I think you'll.
धन्यवाद सर, आपने बहुत अच्छी इवेंट की रचना की है, और हम सभी से आग्रह है कि 11, 12, 13 जनवरी को आप इसमें ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा संख्या में शामिल होकर आप और भी सीखिए। एक तो यहाँ पे हमारी पाठशाला चलती है जो कि हर गुरुवार को होती है, एक अर्थ गुरुकुलम भी है जो उसका एक्सटेंडेड वर्जन है, और हम ये देख सकते हैं कि हम लोग फ्रेटर्निटी के लिए काम कर रहे हैं, इस इंडस्ट्री के लिए मिल के काम कर रहे हैं। तो हम जरूर अगले चरण में जाएंगे। नेक्स्ट लेवल को हिंदी में अगला चरण बोलते हैं। तो बहुत अच्छा लगा। तो धर्म सर, मैं फिर से आपको आमंत्रित करना चाहूंगा, कृपया आईपीएस अचीवर्स को आप रिवॉर्ड करें, एक बार स्लाइड प्रेजेंट करें।
मनी भाई, in case if anybody has any query or any problem in joy अगर होगा, तो just आपका नंबर, कोई कांटेक्ट पर्सन का नंबर डाल दीजिए, so that they can get in touch.
I'm sharing our WhatsApp number. Please mention it 8866. Ritu, if you can type 8866 99 3636. Friends, if you have any queries, any doubts regarding the event, please drop a message over there. Office person will connect you. Yeah. Location is Ahmedabad Club 07, a 5-star property. You can Google it. उसके लिए आपको बोलना नहीं पड़ेगा, आपके मेहमान गति में कोई कमी नहीं आएगी। So rest assured. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mani bhai. Dharam sir, please, if you can continue with the presentation of IPS. If you say, I'll.
No, it's all right. So today we just got the results of IPS. I think we got it yesterday in the morning. Sorry, we got it yesterday in the morning. But
IPS means it's not about police wala IPS. Yeah, investment planning specialist subject. We are in personal finance. So Dharam sir, people will take it wrong.
Sir, I think as a CFP leader, there's nobody better than you. Since you are sitting, I would request you to speak a few words regarding the IPS and the CFP program that we've been doing, and great results that we are getting. I think nobody deserves this platform more than you. to speak. So can you please speak a few words?
Yes. So friends, we are doing this CFP, and as you all know, and this is our second batch. Out of that, in the month of November, we have appeared for the exam for the investment planning specialist, which is the one of the module in the CFP. Entire CFP में जो 4 modules है, one of the module is investment planning specialist, and we are happy, and always, even in the first batch also, even all the subject wherever people are attending, whenever they are attending, whenever they are appearing for the exam, we have almost more than 80% people passing in the exam first attempt itself. So it's a proud moment for us, and something whatever we are doing, and we want to create minimum 100 CFP every year. That is our target, and so that's what we are working, and definitely with the help of the industry and everybody, 5 years, 3 years, 5 years down the line, industry should be at different level. So that's our vision. So, and we will do that. So congratulations all the people who have appeared for the exam in the month of November and passed in the first attempt itself, the APS exam. So we have Melissa. I think if we can enlarge, we have Vaishali, we have Rashi, Lakshmi, and Sonal Sharma. We have Prakasha and Samir. We have Dakshish and Bhavesh. And we have Praneeth, and we have Saransh, Viral Shah, Abhishek Sinha, and we have Kumaresh BS and JS Dedia. See friends, they are all almost 99% of them are MFTs like you. They are doing this course, and maybe 1 or 2 students are there who are pursuing maybe second generation. We have second generation people also who are doing this course. So we have Vishal Mahajan, we have Gaurav, and we have Samarth, and we have Jagdishwaran, and we have Giridhar. I hope I have pronounced all the names, I guess.
Yes, your eyesight is very good. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
Yes.
They are Kumaresh.
Okay, so congratulations everyone, and wait for the next module now. So yes, sir. So Praveen, please continue.
Yeah, I would like to name other also: Prakash Shah, Praneeth Srivastava, Rashi Bedia, Samarth Khandelwal, Samir Nemawarkar, Saransh Giridhar, Sonal Sharma, Vaishali Sayande, Viral Shah, Vishal Mahajan, Melissa Sores, Lakshmi Chaudhary, Kumaresh BS, Jagdeshwaran, Jayesh Dedia, Giridhar, Gaurav Pate, Dakshish Soni, Bhavesh Kataria, Abhishek Sinha. Congratulations everyone for becoming IPS with the passing of the year. That is a very
And
great,
beauty is, friends,
great
now
achievement
you
today.
can apply for the certificate, and you can you will get a certificate which is called Investment Planning Specialist Certificate from FPSB US. That's the beauty. So whenever you go to clients, you can introduce and use this credibility. Like, I have this certificate from US. That's the beauty of this exam, or whichever module you pass, you can start using that credibility.
true.
Yes, and also Dharam sir is one of our student of CFP. He is also pursuing. So he has cleared almost now, I think, 2 modules, sir.
Yeah, 2 out of 4.
2 out of 4. So 2 more left.
I am along with Praveen.
Me too.
Yes,
Me too.
yes. Praveen is also one of the students.
We are batchmates.
Yes, yes, yes.
But what is interesting is, 24 people appeared and 20 cleared. I mean, that made us very happy this morning, honestly. And we thought we'll celebrate it in a big way, which we have done now.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to join CFP program, CFP course, Vikas, please put your number, contact, get in touch with Vikas. He will give you all the details, what is our process and provision. And by the way, friends, we have a very strict process of admitting students for our CFP course. And that is one of the reason why we have this result. And we don't take everybody who wants to do CFP. We put the filtration criteria, and you can ask anybody, whoever, even Praveen, everybody has to go through that process only. And maybe because of that process, we have this kind of result. Yes. So this is, please get in touch with Vikas Wani for any details regarding CFP program.
Because we are starting a new batch in the month of January. So that is the reason we are making this announcement. If there are people who are not part of our regular members and they are there over here and they are interested, please connect with Vikas.
Yes.
So,
okay.
So now let me, since my next job is to introduce the speaker. So, and everybody has been waiting for him. I think we are on time, sir. It's 7:26. Maybe we are 5 minutes late.
Not at all.
So Mr. Karan Datta actually doesn't need an introduction, but still I will do my job. He has been in the corporate world in several big places like Goldman Sachs, Aditya Birla Finance, and I had met him when he was at Axis Mutual Fund as a CBO. He's a person, you can see his background, you can see how he's dressed up. He's a man who lives, he personifies financial freedom. So he's the person who decided to leave a corporate world and do what he wishes to do, and that is what he's doing. He's on the board of directors of several companies, including Edelweiss, Prudent, and several other companies. And moreover, he is today giving back to society. He's a master as far as macro is concerned, as far as world events are concerned. He's quite an expert. He does a lot of study around geopolitical stuff that is happening around. And as you know, all these things are connected with the market. Because if people are positive, they buy and the market go up. People are negative, they sell and the markets go down. So there's a direct connection with the market with geopolitical events, and that is where he's a master. But he's not a master only in geopolitical stuff. He's a master in business. He's a master in our profession, whatever we do. And today, I think he's spending a lot of time traveling across the country, delivering lectures and educating people and guiding people. And so, the life that you live, Karan, I think it's an envy of everybody. And you are showing people, a third way of living rather than, the normal working and retiring. There is something in between, which is a different world. And that is what you are demonstrating. And I'm definitely a follower of yours. And so without taking more time, let me just ask you to come and start your session, which a lot of people, you can see 277 people are here. They are waiting to listen to you. And I think I don't want to be the kebab mein haddi anymore.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Here you go, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So very, very kind of you to use such words for me. I have told my wife to join the call, so hopefully she would have heard all the good things that you said for me. And
I just want to say one more thing, that Karan sir has agreed to speak once in a month at our Pathshala for the entire 2023. So all 2023, the third Thursday is booked for Karan sir, Mr. Karan Datta. So all our Pathshala members, brace up for a great 2023, and we will see Mr. Karan Datta many times over 2023.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I just had to
not at all.
talk about this.
Thank you. Now, I was just saying that today I've given the links for this talk to my family, to my father, and some friends also. So I actually have literally, this is family coming together, because the community that is on the call is also my family. And I say this with great respect for what the MFDs really represent. So before I really speak about anything else, I wanted to share this again and again, Dharmendra, that, the fact that I'm able to lead this life is simply because I continue to have a MFD by my side, a mutual fund distributor and advisor. And I say this at every forum, that अगर मेरी जिंदगी में mutual fund advisor या distributor नहीं होता, तो शायद मैं आज भी काम ही कर रहा होता. So with all my deepest love and appreciation and respect for the community, I want to thank everyone on this call, because मुझ जैसे आप काफी families को support करते हैं by guiding us, by taking us through very, very tough times. And so what you do is really, really critical for the advancement of many, many families. That's really important to, as an outsider and an insider, I must share that with you. Next, I just wanted to also share next level में ना मेरे को एक चीज बहुत अच्छी लगती है धर्मेंद्र, जो आप कर रहे हो with Swami and Vikas and Praveen. आप लोग collaboration पे बहुत ध्यान देते हो, and that really I think is wonderful. क्योंकि आज की दुनिया में ना collaboration is much more important than anything else. So there is a lot of focus on partnerships, etc. But to be able to collaborate with people and deliver service and value is something that I see in NLE. That is why I decided to, be part of this program in whichever way. And you all have been very kind to me to, allow me to speak once a month. And for everyone on this call, I must again say that Next Level really is एक्चुअली जो भी ये लोग करते हैं दिल से करते हैं, एंड दैट्स व्हाट आई रियली लाइक अबाउट इट. So when Dharmendra said that year-end program and is there anything that I would like to speak on, and then I said हाँ, why not, because ये जो अभी मैं आपके साथ स्लाइड शेयर करने जा रहा हूँ ये एकदम ब्रांड न्यू है, लिटरली मैंने ज्यादा दिखाई नहीं है ये कहीं पे. एंड इसका जो टाइटल है दैट इज अमृत काल, बिकॉज अमृत काल, यू नो, अमृत काल के ऊपर काफी बात हो रही है कि कई लोग तो कह रहे हैं इंडिया की सेंचुरी है, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. सो ऐसा क्या, you know, what is it that we are doing different as a nation कि अगले 10, 20, 25 साल हमारे हो सकते हैं. So I put some slides together, वो मैं आपके साथ share करूंगा. But again, just to reiterate, before I get into the slides, I just want to make one more observation. पिछले 6 से 7 साल से I have been making an attempt to speak about geopolitics and its impact on our world. And I say, when I say our world, I mean the advisory world, capital markets, investments, mutual funds, advisory. और ये बहुत ही जरूरी हो गया पिछले 2 साल में, तो ये और भी जरूरी हो गया. आप देखिए पिछले 2 साल में कितने सारे इवेंट एक्चुअली हो चुके हैं, फ्रॉम श्रीलंका क्राइसिस टू हांगकांग के प्रोटेस्ट टू गलवान, बालाकोट, इमरान खान इज नो लॉन्गर प्राइम मिनिस्टर ऑफ पाकिस्तान, यू नो, नेपाल में प्राइम मिनिस्टर्स बदल रहे हैं, फिर कोविड भी हो गया, बिग वन, वेरी बिग स्टोरी, उसमें फिर रशिया यूक्रेन भी हो गया. So if you see कुछ, I mean 18 months is a very short period, but the number of incidents and activities that are taking place have really increased, and now they're having an impact on our world directly. So it's very important, क्योंकि fund managers, please remember, वो stock picking करते हैं, they don't focus on top, they do bottom up stock picking. So किसी ना किसी को तो ऊपर से देखना पड़ेगा, and that's where all the MFDs on this call, my request to you is please keep an eye out on what's happening in the world, because top down is your responsibility, because that means asset allocation. So that is why आज की डेट में I tend to focus lot more on what's happening in the world, because उसका direct impact आजकल markets पे होने लग गया है. So with that background and little bit of talk, let me start by sharing my screen with my slides. Just give me 1 second. And if I could get a confirmation कि आपको मेरी slides दिख रही हैं, so can you all see my slides?
Yes, sir, it's visible correctly. It's showing.
ठीक है,
Yeah.
ठीक है. So like I said, ये slides मैंने recently बनाई हैं, इनमें थोड़ा सा काम मैंने पढ़ाई लिखाई करके, ये literally 5 से 6 महीने का काम है, जिसको you know I'm going to talk about. So ये अमृतकाल ये है क्या, डायरेक्शन क्या है देश की. ना मैं गोल्फ खेलता हूँ आजकल 3 से 4 घंटे ट्राई मारता हूँ गोल्फ खेलने की. तो गोल्फ में 2 चीजें होती हैं, एक होता है लंबी मारो, डिस्टेंस, पर दूसरा होता है डायरेक्शन. आप कितनी भी लंबी मार दो, अगर डायरेक्शन खराब होगा तो वो बॉल का मतलब नहीं है. इज इंडिया इन द राइट डायरेक्शन? बिकॉज अगर डायरेक्शन सही है तो फिर डिस्टेंस आ जाएगा. And I'm going to share with you some of what I've learned. And इसमें ना आप ट्राई करिएगा कि इसको पॉलिटिकल नजरिए से ना देखें, बिकॉज अगर पॉलिटिक्स के नजरिए से देखेंगे तो मतलब it may not or may not work for you. So keep politics away for a minute, for some time, and then we can do a short Q&A later if people have questions. So my suggestion would be just look at it as possibly what's happening in this country, and is the direction correct for the next 20-25 years. So let me start on the slides. एक तो मैं आपको बताना चाहता हूं कि बॉस दुनिया में ना, एंड खासकर आसपास, हमारे आसपास नए नए चैलेंजेस आ गए हैं, तो फ्रंटियर ही बदल गए हैं. आप ज्यादातर सुनते होंगे यू नो चाइना के साथ हमारे पंगे जो हो रहे हैं आजकल, वेदर दैट्स इन गलवान और इन तवांग. बट actually I want to share with you that ये दो आप डब्बे देख रहे हैं ना, these are the new frontiers, not just for the world but also for India. तो इसमें साइबर वॉर है, इसमें इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक पल्स वॉर है. तीसरा जो फ्रंटियर इंडिया के लिए वो है वाटर, एंड एक्चुअली नॉट लैंड, बिकॉज कंस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ डैम्स, फ्रेश वाटर एक्सेस, इसमें बहुत एक्शन हो रहा है जहां पे हम और चाइना एक्चुअली हेड ऑन कोलिजन पे हैं. ज्यादातर ये 4th पॉइंट आप देखिए, मोस्ट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड इज नाउ शिफ्टिंग टुवर्ड्स इकोनॉमिक्स एंड पॉलिटिक्स, थोड़ी इंपॉर्टेंस कम होती जा रही है. ट्रेड वॉर्स बढ़ गए हैं, बायोलॉजिकल वॉर जिसके थ्रू अब चाइना गुजर रहा है और पूरी दुनिया गुजर चुकी है, दैट इज हैपनिंग. एंड Third and fourth are very interesting: narrative war and psychological operations. In fact, 2, 3, and 4 of the right hand wala dabba, I will speak a little about it, because psychological and narrative war means there is money being spent on how you and I think. आपको यकीन नहीं होगा, but an annual spend of about $18 billion is done to make you and me think in a certain manner. I will give you some examples. आप शायद examples से, it'll get clearer. And the fifth and perhaps the biggest frontier for India is semiconductors, nanochips, etc., which I've been speaking for a while now. In fact, maybe I was amongst the first ones 2 years ago to speak about semiconductors and the requirement of chips. But अगर आप ये दोनों डब्बे देखें, आप एक चीज नोटिस करिएगा that इसमें ना not a single bullet has been fired. So even when the soldiers fought between India and China, वो भी हाथापाई हुई थी, लड़ाई मुक्का हुआ था, क्लब्स इस्तेमाल हुए थे, पत्थर इस्तेमाल हुए थे, मगर बुलेट फिर भी नहीं फायर हुई थी. And the picture I'm just trying to paint for you is you don't need to be in a what they call as a kinetic war. We are already in the middle of these 9 wars, whether it's cyber or biological or water or semiconductors, etc. So ये challenges India के छोटे नहीं हैं, important हैं, and देश इनको handle कर रहा है. So over the next some time I will kind of take you through. एक तो मैं आपको example दूंगा ये number 2, 3 and 4 के biological narrative, so that एक appreciation आ जाएगा आप में कि हाँ ये ऐसा हो सकता है. So let's just take the example of biological war, because उसके through तो जितने भी लोग हैं इस call पे, every one of us must have gone through this biological war का example, which is COVID. And I think थोड़ा वो sensational ना करते हुए, अगर मेरा title अगर आप देखें, India did come under a bioweapons attack, and now the question is, was it deliberate or was it a leak? वो सब छोड़िए. Even if it is a leak, it is a bioweapon. So COVID किसी भी तरीके से आप देखें, किसी एंगल से भी देखें, अब रिसर्च आता ही जा रहा है. Finally, it turned out to be a lab leak, and even like I said, अगर leak भी है तो वो एक weapon नहीं था. And by definition, a biological leak is actually an act of war. And because it is China, so लोग ज़्यादा उसको question नहीं कर रहे हैं. But जिसने question किया, Australia, United States, Japan, इन सारे देशों के साथ चाइना आज तक थोड़ा loggerheads पे है. इसका एक स्पेशल केस है ऑस्ट्रेलिया ने सिर्फ ये पूछा कि कैन वी फाइंड आउट द ओरिजिन्स ऑफ कोविड. आज तक ट्रेड वॉर चल रहा है बिटवीन ऑस्ट्रेलिया एंड चाइना. उन्होंने चाइनीज ने ऑस्ट्रेलियन प्रोडक्ट्स पे इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी एंड कस्टम्स 200% बढ़ा दी. सो वेदर इट वाज वाइन एंड चीज एंड जो ऑस्ट्रेलिया एक्सपोर्ट करता था चाइना को, सिर्फ ये क्वेश्चन पूछने पे इन्होंने कस्टम ड्यूटी 200% बढ़ा दी. सो मेरा कहने का मतलब है कि ये जो हमारे साथ हुआ और अब जो चाइना के साथ हो रहा है, it is a form of an act of war, even if it was, let's say, by mistake. And I'll just give an example. I actually think that we did come under an attack, and I will just kind of, share some, go back 2 years or 1 year. जब फर्स्ट वेव में इंडिया ने लॉकडाउन कर दिया, जैसे ही चालू हुआ तो हमने लॉकडाउन कर दिया. वो वेरी वेरी टफ लॉकडाउन. हम लोग 2 महीने 3 महीने घर पे बैठे हुए थे, फिर खुल गया सब कुछ. आई वॉन्ट यू टू गो बैक अबाउट a year and a half ago, when after the first lockdown we opened up everything, and when we opened up we became like a beacon of hope. People were saying देखो इंडिया ने अच्छे से संभाल लिया. एंड आपको शायद अब याद होगा कि after we opened up, in less than 30 days, India went from 10,000 cases a day to 4 lakh cases a day. ये आपको exact time में बताता हूँ. ये Feb and March of 2021 की बात होगी है, पिछले साल. Exactly about a year ago, a year and 4 months ago की बात होगी, March of last year, when 10,000 केसेस पे आ गए थे, सीधा 4 लाख पे हो गए. सो लोकल लॉकडाउन फिर चालू हो गए एंड जीडीपी फिर हिट हो गया. And suddenly we saw this 10-time increase in medical oxygen. I mean, I'm sure I don't have to explain this to everyone. हम सब ने इसको झेला है. एंड मेडिकल अपना ऑक्सीजन ये जो था 900 मेट्रिक टन से इट वेंट स्ट्रेट, द डिमांड वेंट टू 9000 मेट्रिक टन, जो एक्चुअली बाय द वे सब दुनिया में हुआ है. वी आर नॉट यूनिक इन दैट सेंस, बट आई एम जस्ट शेयरिंग विद यू दैट आफ्टर we went through the lockdown, yet we went through this pain. And then global media में फोटो आने लगी अपनी कि बस इंडियंस आर डाइंग, वो फायर लिट है कहीं पे, इंडिया इज बर्निंग, इंडिया इज suffocating, and the narrative completely changed. From being a beacon of hope, we became a failing state. And please remember all this in less than 30 days. एंड जितने भी न्यूज़पेपर थे, ग्लोबल लोकल जितने भी थे, अपनी फोटो यही आती थी, इंडिया फायर्स आर लिट, एंड ड्रोन आता था ऊपर से, फिर वो फोटो लेते थे एंड इट वुड बी स्प्लैश्ड ऑल ओवर द, आई एम श्योर ऑल ऑफ यू रिमेंबर दैट. एंड अगर आप सीक्वेंस भी देखें ना, इट्स वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग दैट मार्च ऑफ 21, द पॉइंट आई वाज जस्ट मेकिंग, पिछले साल मार्च की बात है, द फर्स्ट सिटी टू बी रीहिट वाज एक्चुअली बॉम्बे, अपना फाइनेंशियल कैपिटल, जहाँ काफी लोग आप बैठे होंगे अभी. फिर सो पहले तो हो गया फाइनेंशियल कैपिटल, फिर आया अप्रैल में. आई सो कैटेगोरिकली रिमेंबर अप्रैल 21 बिकॉज आई वाज ड्राइविंग ऑन 14th अप्रैल, एंड देन 15th अप्रैल में सबको हो गया कोविड, एंड देन अप्रैल 21 दिल्ली, विच इज इंडियाज नेशनल कैपिटल, एंड मई में बैंगलोर, विच इज इंडियाज आईटी कैपिटल. सो लुक एट फाइनेंशियल कैपिटल हिट, नेशनल कैपिटल हिट, आईटी कैपिटल हिट, एंड व्हाट हैपेंड as a result of this, up until this time, we were a vaccine exporter. And right after this, we became a vaccine importer. So पूरा ना game ही बदल गया. From being an exporter, and जिनको vaccine चाहिए थी, I mean, please remember, इस पूरी दुनिया में सिर्फ 5-6 देशों ने vaccine बनाई थी. उन 5 देशों में से एक देश था इंडिया. So because we had the vaccine and because we had the capability, we were able to export it to 70 other countries. But because अपनी requirement इतनी बढ़ गई that those 70 countries could not get it from us, and then they had to approach who? The Chinese for supplies. And like I'm just repeating this again, within 30-40 days, पूरा देश का जो एक image था वही उल्टा हो गया. Of course उसके बाद बहुत action हुआ. We've taken so much. We'll talk about it subsequently in the subsequent slide. Now, obviously, production went up and oxygen supplies, etc., etc. And now, of course, 200-250 crore vaccine lag chuki hain. That's a separate matter. But I'm just taking you back to some of India's toughest times. And in all of this, narrative badal gaya. So this is one piece I wanted to share with you, because you remember maine kaha tha, India has new challenges to face. One challenge that we faced was COVID. But I'm going to share with you another narrative which we face virtually every day. And that narrative is called the psychological war. ये narrative क्या है? So many times आपने सुना होगा ये कि भाई मीडिया में ये मीडिया हमारे बारे में ऐसा बात करता है, एंड वॉशिंगटन पोस्ट देखो तो ये बोलते हैं, न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स देखिए तो ऐसा दिखता है, बीबीसी में हमारी व्यू ऐसा है. एक्चुअली ये बात टू सम एक्सटेंट सच भी है, बिकॉज जिस प्रकार से आप और मैं सोचते हैं उसके पीछे काफी पैसा लगाया जाता है. बिकॉज प्लीज रिमेंबर, वी आर अ डेमोक्रेटिक नेशन एंड डेमोक्रेसीज विन एंड लूज ऑन इलेक्शंस. एंड इलेक्शन में कौन किस तरीके से सोच रहा है उस पर बहुत ज्यादा रिसर्च, फंडिंग एंड फाइनली मनी स्पेंड. फ्रॉम व्हाट आई हैव रेड एंड फ्रॉम द रिसर्च आई पुट टुगेदर, the annual spend is about $18 billion on how you and I think. I'm just going to give you an example. Then you know, all of this, you can figure out whether it's making sense to you or not. But एक example आपको देता हूँ कि बॉस देखिए, ये चार नाम है इस लिस्ट में. So there's Afghanistan. I'm just going to give you an example of narrative कैसे set होता है. So there is Afghanistan, there is Taliban, Pakistan and China. So ये जो list है ना, I don't think any country wants to be in this list. This is like अपनी इंडस्ट्री का मैं आपको एक एग्जांपल देता हूँ. This is D category default rate bonds, जहाँ पे आप you don't want a fund house having category D rated bonds in their portfolio. But in these, I mean, look at this list. Why would you want to be in this list? So if you're China and if you're a Chinese, you ideally don't want to be in this Pakistan, Taliban, Afghanistan list. But I'm going to prove it to you how they made this list sound as if they're not default category, but they are AAA. So let me just explain to you what I'll show you live. I mean, I'll just show you by example how narrative is set. So please remember, about few months ago, about a year ago, I think about a year and a half ago, in September of 21, the US left Afghanistan. अभी 20 साल से थे वहां पे वो 9/11 के whatever, उसके बाद they came to Afghanistan, they took out Osama bin Laden, and जो भी था इनका इंटेंशन था टेरर का इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर ब्रेक करना है. अभी 20 साल हो गए हैं, तो फाइनली बाइडन ने बोला बॉस हम वापस जा रहे हैं. And so when they left, obviously they left in chaos. So chaos तो था ही, but अब मीडिया देखिए क्या लिखता है. US leaves chaos, destruction in Afghanistan. Afghanistan withdrawal raises questions about US reliability in the region. And I have picked all of this. I mean, ये मैं खुद नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, आप देख सकते हैं क्या क्या लिखा हुआ है, सब हेडलाइंस ही हैं. जो बाइडेन्स withdrawal leaves Afghanistan crisis, ये वो मतलब बेसिकली एक देश जिसने 20 साल तक अफगानिस्तान में टेरर नेटवर्क को अनटैंगल किया है, अपना जो भी है 20 साल के बाद वापस जा रहा है. But the as per media, A, US is not reliable, and B, it is total chaos. चलो ठीक है, fair enough, point to be, ठीक है, जो भी है, बात सही भी है because आप सब ने देखा. But look at the other thing. Then Economist comes and says America's failed war and US betrayed Afghanistan's forces. So this is how the world started to read कि बस अमेरिका ने करा क्या है. तो failed war, betrayal, ये वो. Now I'm going to show you some more headlines. And then the headlines come that China endorses Taliban's interim government and it announces $31 million aid for Afghanistan. The world needs to guide Taliban in Afghanistan, China tells US. And China is sending aid to Taliban control Afghanistan, filling. Basically, आपने 3 headlines, 3 different page देखे हैं. The message of the 3 headlines is, boss, America एकदम chaotic, betrayer, और अफगानिस्तान को एकदम छोड़ के चला गया है. बट यहाँ देखिए चाइना मसीहा बीच में आया, उसने तालिबान को सपोर्ट किया, पैसे भी दिए, और वो अब पूरे दुनिया को बताएगा कि हाउ टू डील विद तालिबान. एंड प्लीज रिमेंबर, दिस इज दैट लिस्ट ऑफ D कैटेगरी डिफॉल्ट रेटेड bonds. It's like literally one of the default category bond debts, kind of telling the portfolio manager, I will tell you how to invest. And it's this kind of narrative which the world sees, and then they form an opinion. I gave this example simply because it doesn't involve us directly, but it's kind of giving you how people are kind of setting narratives for us and for the world. For us, the direct narrative was when the world looked at us as fires are being burnt and lit, and India is, gasping for breath, as if India is finished, khatam, story over. And यहाँ पे, oh, चलो America is a betrayer, but चलो China तो है. And इस पे ना छोटा amount spend नहीं होता है, बहुत पैसे खर्च होते हैं on how you and me are made to think. So be very careful of what you read on the first page of the newspaper. Always read from page 8 onwards. 8वें, 9वें और 10वें पेज पे actual news आती है. और अगर आपको और भी चाहिए news, then directly call me up. I will give it to you. And so I'm going to now show you some other stuff that, this is the point I was just making, that US has been fighting and power decline and 12 से 18 billion dollars का just narrative set हुआ है. Anyway, so this background के साथ अगर 8 से 9 different frontier हैं, so what does it mean for India and our future? क्योंकि बस please remember, अपनी independence केवल 75 साल पुरानी है, और इन 75 सालों में भी people don't realize this, but we've already fought 6 wars. Hence, by definition, we are fighting a physical kinetic war every 10 years. 10 से 12 साल में, हर 10 साल में हमारा एक युद्ध हो रहा है. 6 तो हो ही चुके हैं. So it's not, it's India's, look, let me explain this to you in very simple terms and blunt terms. If India is not a secure nation, तो आप कुछ भी कर लो, आपकी capital markets cannot be secure. Because if your national security is not your number one agenda, then everything else falls apart. If you do not agree with that, please look at what is happening in Ukraine now. Or for that matter, what's even happening with the Russians. Or for that matter, what's happening in Poland. Or for that matter, what's happening in Germany. Because Germans now are going to, next year, going to be struggling for providing lighting when the winter comes next year. For no apparent war that they are facing. So I'm just trying to share with all of you that boss, किस direction से अपने पर कौन सा पत्थर आता है, we don't know, but पत्थर चल रहे हैं. Is India doing enough to secure her future? Those are the three. I'm going to now share with you 2 or 3 points which I think are directionally where India is headed, and perhaps the first steps towards Amrit Kaal. So let me explain to you what I'm trying to say. I think, and this is based on जो मैं आपको जो भी चीजें बोल रहा हूँ, from here onwards are as close to facts as possible. And remember, I made a mention that try not to see this from a political lens. For political lens देखेंगे तो थोड़ा गड़बड़ हो जाएगा. जितना भी मैं अभी आपको share करूँगा, it's bare facts. We can debate the facts, but it doesn't take away that this is real. I think there are tectonic shifts in policy thinking, and policy thinking is very different from governmental thinking. बस एक होता है कि गवर्नमेंट ऐसा सोच रहा है, एक होता है पॉलिसी ऐसा सोच रहा है, and when policy and government act together, then the direction changes. And I think there are these 3 tectonic shifts that are taking place in India's policy decision making. I'm going to share with you each of those different ones and then give you examples. Number 1 shift I see in India is starting to take strategic alignment, which basically means India will align with any and every nation with whom our interests matter. मतलब अगर देश का भला होगा तो we will align with that other country. It's very different from what it used to be. I'll explain to you. So number 1 shift that is taking place is strategic alignment. Number 2 shift in our policy, in the way we think as a nation. And remember, this has to be policy shift. Otherwise, ये होगा नहीं. The number 2 thing that is happening in our country is we're now taking a view that in our defense, we will think offensively. And I will again give you lots of examples of the second policy shift. Basically, it is called offensive defense. अगर मुझे अपने देश की सुरक्षा करनी है और अगर मुझे लगता है कि कहीं से अटैक आने वाला है, I will attack first. I mean, like I said, I'll give you some examples. And the third policy shift is India first. And these 3 are new directions of this country. Against this, where are we coming from? So it's very important to understand that strategic alignment, offensive defense, or India first. तो ये अगर नए तरीके हैं सोचने के, तो what have we come through? ये हम आए कहाँ से हैं? So where we are coming from is actually against strategic alignment. Hamara as a nation, our thought process was non-alignment. So if you remember in the Nehruvian period, up until actually even till the 1990s, thoda bahut even in 2000, अपना view था as a country that we are non-aligned. हम किसी के ना दोस्त हैं ना किसी के दुश्मन. And it really worked. In the Cold War, it worked because ना हम अमेरिका के दोस्त थे ना उसके दुश्मन, ना हम सोवियत यूनियन के दोस्त थे ना दुश्मन. So non-alignment really did work. So 30-40 साल वो चला, मगर एक टाइम के बाद वो नहीं चला, and hence we shifted to strategic alignment. एक टाइम तक हमारा जितना भी व्यू था as a country to protect ourselves was defensive. कि अगर कोई मेरे को थप्पड़ मारेगा या मेरे ऊपर अटैक करेगा तो मैं उनको ज्यादा से ज्यादा आई विल डू कड़ी निंदा एंड सेंड देम डॉसियर. फॉर एग्जांपल 26/11 के अटैक हुए, पार्लियामेंट अटैक हुआ, मुंबई के ट्रेन अटैक हुए, सिद्धि विनायक पे अटैक हो गया, गुजरात में अटैक्स हो गया, नॉट सिद्धि विनायक, माय अपॉलॉजी, जयपुर, दिल्ली टेरर अटैक्स, खालिस्तान, जम्मू एंड कश्मीर. ये तो 30 साल 35 साल का अपने ऊपर अटैक्स हुआ, मगर our format of response was kadi ninda and sending dossier. And that, in my opinion, perhaps worked because in that era, the nation did not want to fight an offensive war. And so hence our ability was we are defensive in our offense. And the third thing where we are coming from is politics first. So please remember that these shifts are very large. They're not small, because you're actually turning the entire ship around. From politics first, you're saying India first. From defensive mindset, you're saying offensive mindset. And from non-alignment, you're saying strategic alignment. Now, I can keep saying what I want to, but if I don't support this, shift with actual proof, then you're not going to believe me. So I'm going to spend some time explaining how India is taking some steps. And please remember, this is a work in progress. इसमें बहुत time लगता है. These are not small shifts. ये तो सिर्फ अभी पिछले शायद 8-10 साल में चालू हुआ है, मगर इसमें 30 साल और लग जाएंगे. But let me give you some example. Let's take strategic alignment and strategic alignment versus non-alignment. So strategic alignment के मैं आपको example देता हूँ. ये बहुत very quickly. I don't want to spend too much time. में तो पूरी रात ही हो जाएगी. आप सब ने सुना होगा क्वाड के बारे में, where Japan, United States, Australia and India, they formed this kind of quadrilateral relationship. It's called the Quad, जहाँ पे ये 4 देश बोल रहे हैं कि ट्रेड को लेकर, डिफेंस सिक्योरिटी को लेकर, साइबर अटैक्स को लेकर, चिप प्रोडक्शन को लेकर ये 4 देश साथ में काम करेंगे. एंड क्वाड का क्या है, अगर आप मैप से देखें, ये जितने भी देश हैं उनमें इंडिया, जापान, ऑस्ट्रेलिया are now coming together to actually take on some threats in this part of the world, and ऊपर से यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स. सो एक क्वाड का फॉर्मेशन हो रहा है और उसके बारे में आई एम श्योर आप सब ने काफी चर्चा भी सुनी होगी. सो क्वाड का एक्चुअली ऑपरेशनलाइजेशन, ये क्वाड का जो preparation हुआ था happened in 2005-2006, but it's a thought process, but its implementation happened in sometime around 2015 and 16. So there was someone who said कि चलो this makes sense, but sometime in 15 and 16 it really got operationalized, and as we speak it's starting to take a lot of shape. So Quad is one example of something like strategic alignment. I'm going to give you some examples of where India is starting to align for her interest, and the operating word is wherever India's interests are served, India will strike partnerships. ये photo है one of the last photos of the Trump era. यहाँ पे Rajnath Singh is signing these 3 agreements, Lemua, Komkasa and Becca. Now these 3 agreements were signed with the Trump era literally 30 days before Trump went out as a president. And these 3 agreements are reasonably detailed agreements. And please remember that these agreements continue to be in exercise after Trump has gone and Biden has come in. So they were bipartisan approval. Matlab both Republicans and Democrats supported signing these agreements. And the background on these agreements, they sound very basic, but I'm just going to give you a very simple explanation of what these agreements are. In one of them, for example, Komkasa, in Komkasa, India gets access to geospatial technology of US. Basically, you get satellite imagery. And the US is the god of satellite imaging when it comes to intelligence. So instead of putting your own satellites, you now get intelligence sharing from the Americans. So what you see now, India taking on the 2 fronts, whether it's Pakistan or China simultaneously, we also get access of some of this intelligence officially from the Americans. And so these are 3 different agreements which were signed. इनके नाम पे मत जाइएगा, इनकी जो depth है उन पे जाइएगा. It gives access to India on various parameters, including intelligence. That was not there with us at all. Otherwise, we would have had to put 35 satellites and then kind of get a network grid, which would have given us real-time intelligence. So but all of that kind of got superseded. And so with the Americans, this is what we did, signing agreements, etc. बहुत सारे agreements हैं. I just shared this. So एक तरफ से अमेरिका के साथ we signed these agreements, but दूसरी तरफ in alignment we were importing Russian S-400 missiles, which is like tremendously sophisticated. These are missiles which are for air defense, and they're now, this second batch has already come in, and the S-400s are already now deployed forward bases, both in Ladakh and in Arunachal Pradesh. So imagine that India is busy signing agreements with the Americans, also buying equipment from the Russians. I don't know of any other country which is dealing with both of them and is surviving without, disturbing the equation. So India is dealing with Moscow and with Washington. What else? As far as alignment is concerned. So with Israel, we're busy buying drones from Israel. But on the flip side, India and Iran's bilateral ties are at its probably the best ever. And please remember, Israel and Iran are sworn enemies. So you have India dealing with Israel. In fact, with Israel, our relationship is perhaps at its peak. And on the flip side, with Iran, our relationships are perhaps also at the peak. And please remember that to juggle Moscow, Iran, Washington, and Tel Aviv, it takes special thought process to get these strategic alignments in place. What else is happening? The Middle East has been giving these special awards, highest civilian awards, to the Prime Minister of India. And literally over the last 7-8 years, whether it is UAE, Palestine, Afghanistan, Saudi Arabia, Maldives, photo after photo, dekho, highest civilian awards. Now, this is the Middle East where naturally you can say that they need not necessarily give civilian awards to the Prime Minister of India, because so much is being said about communal disharmony, etc. But 16, 17, 18, 19, agar aap har saal dekhein, koi na koi desh civilian awards is giving that to the Prime Minister of this country. And then comes vaccine diplomacy. Not just did we seek help from the Americans, etc., but we are actually giving help. 70 deshon ko humne vaccines provide kari. So as a nation, whether it was Sri Lanka, Japan, 70 odd countries, where vaccine diplomacy was undertaken. And clearly, under that vaccine diplomacy, India gained tremendous amount of respect in the world. Till, of course, we got hit. But then, of course, that whole vaccine diplomacy restarted. But please remember that as a nation, if you're only going to take and not give, your alignments are not going to work. So for all the countries that needed our help, we were busy providing the help when they required it the most. And sometimes strategic alignment is also about what we don't do. And I'm going to give you a few examples of things that we did and did not do. First, abhi humne G20 ki presidency li hai, and people don't realize this, but the G20 presidency means a lot for a country. Aap dekhega that in the next certainly in the next 12 months, India's rankings as a destination for manufacturing and tourism will shoot up, because G20 forces a nation to project itself. So a lot of action will happen on G20. Same thing, we became the president. We took the presidency of the United Nations Security Council. This was in 21. We made sure that Pakistan continued to be on the grey list of the Financial Action Task Force. Abhi hataye wo, literally abhi, of terrorism. You have seen what that has meant for Pakistan. It's literally become a default nation. And India did not sign the RCEP, which is a comprehensive trade agreement, because India felt that it sided with China and not necessarily, it was not in our interest. India did not join the Belt and Road Initiative. And now we're also busy signing trade agreements with European Union, the British, the Australians, and most importantly, like I said, with the EU. So, in strategic alignment, it's also very important to remember what we didn't do. Did not sign the BRI, did not do RCEP, continued to focus on Pakistan as a terror nation. And the biggest shift when it comes to all of this, and we'll see this over the next 3 years, are the trade agreements that we're trying to sign with Middle East, the Europe, the EU, and the British. Iska bahut advantage aane wala hai. We've already signed one with the Australians. So if you are wanting to pick stocks, and if you think a sector that you want to go for, think of manufacturing. Maybe at Q&A we can discuss this. So on strategic alignment, this is what I wanted to share with you. Let me just take that whole piece of offensive defense versus defensive. ये एक mindset वाला issue है, and ये इसलिए important है because people don't realize that terrorism has cost India half an economy in the last 30 years. I can prove it to you because Moody's ने research किया था, इसके ऊपर मैंने बहुत बात करी है. Moody's did a research and they said that India loses 1.5% GDP and 2% investment growth in the year of a large terror attack. मतलब 1.5% GDP उड़ जाती है and 2% investment growth जिस साल में एक लंबा चौड़ा टेरर अटैक होता है. एंड मूडीज ने ये भी रिसर्च किया कि इंडिया पे 6024 टेरर अटैक्स हो चुके हैं पिछले 30 साल में, सॉरी पिछले 20 साल में. सो अगर किसी देश पे 6000 टेरर अटैक्स हो चुके हैं तो इट्स क्वाइट ऑब्वियस कि हर साल एक लार्ज टेरर अटैक तो हुआ ही होगा, वेदर इट इज द पार्लियामेंट अटैक, वेदर इट इज न्यू दिल्ली, बॉम्बे, जयपुर, हैदराबाद, बैंगलोर, कोई ऐसा शहर नहीं है जहां पे टेरर अटैक नहीं हुआ है. और अगर हर साल एक बड़ा अटैक हुआ है, so we've lost 1.5% GDP, 2% investment growth for the last 20 years. Now, I want all of you are financial advisors and most of you are, doing this for a living. आप जरा compounding effect देखिए 1.5% loss का over the last 20 years. It comes down to half an economy. जो भी आज हमारी economy उसका minimum 50% और होना चाहिए था हमको. So it is a really, really massive attack on India. And uska jo hamara response tha, like I said, I mean, most response was in a manner of saying that we will take a defensive view towards this attack because escalate nahi karna hai. Fair enough. And again, like I said, we're not going to take any political views on this because it worked at that point in time. We don't want to escalate. Pata nahi kahan jaake ye khatam ho. But I think the big shift is that now we are willing to escalate. And that mind shift is offensive defense. And this is a fact now, पिछले 8 साल में, since 2014 till now, there's not been a single terror attack on any city in this country, barring attacks in Srinagar, which are also attacks on the Indian army, not on the civilians. So if you're shifting your focus from saying that if you're coming to hit me, and I know that, then I will hit you first. But if you succeed in hitting me, I will hit you back very hard, rather than sharing dossiers and doing kadi ninda. So I just think that this is a big shift because it has an economic impact on our lives, on everyone's lives on this call. Because अगर पिछले 8 साल में टेरर अटैक नहीं हुआ है और अगर अगले 18 साल में भी टेरर अटैक नहीं हुआ, you will add back 1.5% GDP, you will add back 2% investment growth, and hence the economy will expand. I will give you the simplest example to prove this, and then I'll show you some ideas of offensive defense. But देखिए ऐसा है, if you are a manufacturer in the US, if you are Harley Davidson and you want to set up a bike manufacturing plant somewhere cost effective in the world, you have two options, Guangzhou in China or Gurgaon in Delhi. And when they sit in New York in a boardroom to decide के boss Guangzhou जाए या Gurgaon, so they'll say कि चलो सब कुछ ठीक है, equal. But then suddenly someone will say, boss, ये इंडिया में ये टेरर अटैक्स होते रहते हैं, पता नहीं अपनी फैक्ट्री सेफ होगी, क्या पता अपना सीईओ उड़ जाए, क्या पता 2 वर्कर उड़ जाएं, क्या होगा, क्या पता नहीं. And suddenly the whole focus shifts, is India safe or not? And the minute the question comes on safety, the decision is done. They all shift to an offshore location and not to Gurgaon. But now, if they start seeing that this country is protecting its assets, protecting its citizens, protecting its factories, protecting itself from attacks, then the interest to invest will go up, and hence manufacturing could go up, FDI will go up, investment will go up, and if this 8-year trend continues for the next 18 years, GDP will go up. So please don't take this as a given कि boss ये normal है. ये नॉर्मल नहीं है, ये बहुत बड़ी चीज है. इस पे आपका और मेरा फ्यूचर निर्भर करता है. बिकॉज अगर ये ऑफेंसिव माइंडसेट नहीं रहा, we may fall back in the trap of terror attacks all over again. And let me quickly show you what this offensive defense mindset is, how it's working. ये 2015 की फोटो है. ये बहुत उस वक्त ये रेयर फोटो थी. ऑफ कोर्स अब these are India's para-9 special forces. 15 में म्यांमार के थ्रू बॉर्डर में आए थे PLA के terrorists, and they attacked Indian jawans on the Myanmar-Burma border. and I think 18 or 19 jawans of the Indian Army were killed. But 2 months later, India staged and mounted this counter-attack. 2 helicopters went in with these Para-9 special forces. They went in, found the terrorists, and they destroyed everything, and they came back. And for the first time, and this did not happen on Pakistan, did not happen in China, this actually happened with Burma. I don't know how many of you remember this, but it really shook us a lot as Indians, because India in 2015 sent its troops across a border to kill and neutralize terrorist pads that had attacked India. So ये 15 की फोटो है, फिर ये 16 की फोटो है कि उरी में सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक्स हुए थे just after we had again lost jawans on our side. फिर उरी के सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक्स हो गए, 16 की बात है. फिर 17 में डोकलाम के स्टैंड में भूटान का हमने साथ दिया. चाइना ने जाके डोकलाम में कुछ क्लेम किया ऑन लैंड, and Bhutan takes its help from India. We pushed back the Chinese in 17. In 18 and 19, we had the Balakot strikes. Of course, everyone remembers Wing Commander Abhinandan. फिर बालाकोट हुआ 19 में, फिर 20 में गलवान हुआ, जहां पे फिर हमारे सोल्जर्स भिड़ोड़. गलवान was the turning point in the way China viewed India, because उस रात को जब हमारे 20 soldiers मरे थे, तो fact of the matter that the Chinese lost probably 30-35 soldiers as well, and they never anticipated such a ferocious attack back from the Indians. That really changed the narrative from that day onwards. So हर साल 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 हर साल जब भी कुछ हमला हुआ तो डॉसियर नहीं भेजा, we just sent back the troops to give an answer. And that is the only way to deal with these situations. Otherwise, you will continuously have pathars being thrown and no reply. And then, of course, there are many things that are happening. Vikrant has had maiden sea trials, etc., aircraft carrier. Then we've had BrahMos, super sophisticated missile systems, which now we're going to export also. And then we've had Rafale coming in, and Rafale pe मतलब चर्चा ही चर्चा हो सकती है on how sophisticated the aircraft is. And then we are going in for 6 nuclear submarines that the Indian Navy is procuring, etc. So I'm just giving you a list of things that we see in bits and pieces, but when you see the complete picture put together, it is an offensive mindset that now we are dealing with. And let me repeat this is a policy shift. If the policymakers don't support it, then there is no fun to it. And so, I mean, this whole sequence of events of how you deal with attacks and how you make your nation secure is now starting to get shown over the last 8 to 10 years. And the other thing India did, when India got hit by COVID, you could have really, we could have succumbed, but look at the way we offensively tackled it. So it's not just in defense or, just physical defense, but the way we tackled COVID. And I showed you right at the start that, kitna problem mein aa gaye hum log. फिर 1 करोड़ वैक्सीन पर डे होने लग गया, हाईएस्ट वैक्सीनेशन हो गया, 200 करोड़ वैक्सीन लग चुके हैं अपने यहाँ पे. 90 से 95% सीनियर सिटीजन्स इन इंडिया हैव 3 doses, which is unheard of any part in the world. China has 28% senior citizen वैक्सीन. तभी थोड़ी हालत टाइट हो गई वहां पे. ऑक्सीजन सप्लाई फिर 900 से 9000 मेट्रिक टन चला गया. एंड इंडिया स्टिल अमंग्स द 5 कंट्रीज दैट हैज द वैक्सीन. सो कहने का मतलब है, आरोग्य सेतु आपने देखा होगा कि अमेरिका में वो चिट्ठी फाड़ के देते हैं कि हाँ भाई तुम्हारा वैक्सीन लगा. यहाँ पे मेनी थिंग्स हैव हैपेंड. नाउ the reason why this is also an offensive way to tackle a problem, because if that mindset is missing, तो कहीं ना कहीं आप अटक जाओगे. So even this was tackled on a front foot. So I just wanted to again share some of those कि ये sequence बन भी रहा है या ये सिर्फ it's all in the air, but sequence बन रहा है. And it is very important for everyone on this call to remember that India has 2.5 fronts to deal with. एक चाइना का है 3000 किलोमीटर का बॉर्डर, एक पाकिस्तान है 1500 किलोमीटर का बॉर्डर, और एक है टेररिज्म. सो 2.5 फ्रंट्स हैं अपने, एंड पावर प्रोजेक्शन अपने रीजन में बहुत जरूरी है. बट मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इज दैट वी डोंट बैक आउट फ्रॉम टेकिंग टफ डिसीजंस. आई थिंक दैट माइंडसेट इज स्टार्टिंग टू शिफ्ट. So again, we are aligning strategically for our interests, and we are taking tough decisions with an offensive mindset. But all of this will fall apart if we don't have India first, and if it's always politics first. Now, this third piece in this whole jigsaw is work in progress. इस पे time जाएगा because ये बहुत मुश्किल काम है. But the first steps towards के बॉस देश ज्यादा जरूरी है. पॉलिटिक्स करते रहेंगे, मगर more than politics, अगर हम पॉलिटिक्स इसकी वजह से अगर हम इलेक्शन हार भी जाएं, फिर भी हम इंडिया को फर्स्ट रखेंगे, is one of the first steps of policy decision making which we are beginning to see. इसमें भी मैं आपको कुछ एग्जांपल दूंगा with the caveat कि ये वर्क इन प्रोग्रेस है, इस पे टाइम जाएगा, ये ओवरनाइट नहीं होता है, इसमें 30 साल लग जाते हैं बिफोर यू सी द रिजल्ट्स. बट कुछ रिजल्ट्स मैं आपके साथ शेयर करूंगा कि ऑन हाउ इंडिया फर्स्ट इज स्टार्टिंग टू शो अप. बस कुछ 65 स्ट्रेटेजिक रोड्स बने हैं पिछले 6 से 7 साल में, जो कि इंडिया के लिए बहुत जरूरी थे, जो कि बने ही नहीं थे. लिटरली ये कभी नहीं बने थे. सो वेदर इट्स टनल्स और स्ट्रेटेजिक रोड्स, ये सारे पिछले 6 से 7 साल के अंदर ऑपरेशनलाइज हो गए हैं. इट्स एक्चुअली बीन क्वाइट अ मास्टरपीस व्हेन इट कम्स टू स्ट्रेटेजिक रोड. दिस इज वेरी डिफरेंट फ्रॉम हाईवेज. The strategic road is, which is can take troops right into the frontiers of our borders. So ये 65 such strategic roads have been built in the last 6 years. National highways का तो intensity आप देख ही रहे हैं सारे देश में, whether it's उत्तर प्रदेश or whether it is any part of the country, whether it is Assam or Karnataka or Maharashtra or wherever you may be. In fact, even in Delhi, we've seen that, from just or Punjab, highway construction in this country has really gone berserk, and it's really reached something like 38, 39 kilometers, 37 kilometers a day, जो कि पहले 16-17 किलोमीटर हुआ करता था. डबलिंग पे काम चल रहा है, और ये तो अभी स्टार्ट ही हुआ है. सो हाईवे कंस्ट्रक्शन पे काम चल रहा है. आप एंड दिस इज अ वर्ल्ड दैट वी सी एवरी डे. कुछ 100 यूनिकॉर्न्स बन चुके हैं. ये स्लाइड थोड़ी सी पुरानी है. 100 यूनिकॉर्न बन चुके हैं बिकॉज स्टैक वाज क्रिएटेड. सो ऐसे यूनिकॉर्न नहीं क्रिएट हुए हैं बिकॉज इंडिया स्टैक गॉट क्रिएटेड, वेदर इट वाज यूपीआई, भीम एंड आधार. सो वो तीनों का स्टैक क्रिएट हुआ. इट क्रिएटेड द इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर फॉर for businesses to kind of deliver. And then we had toilet building, जहाँ पे रोज हम पढ़ते ही हैं कि शौचालय बनाना has become like a national, it's become a national mission. And मैं कितनी कंपनियों से बात करता हूँ जिनका CSR का काम is actually toilet construction. So मतलब they've taken it up very seriously as far as toilet construction is concerned. Like I was saying, Jandhan, Aadhaar and mobile, इन तीनों का टुगेदर आना, जनधन, आधार एंड मोबाइल का मतलब बैंक अकाउंट खुल गए, रुपे कार्ड्स एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा. ना अगेन आई डोंट वांट टू गेट इनटू डिटेल बिकॉज़ आई एम श्योर यू आर अवेयर ऑफ दिस. बट अगेन व्हाट हैपेंस इज वी सी देम इन बिट्स एंड पीसेस. सो एक दिन रिपोर्ट आएगी आधार लॉन्च हो गया, एक दिन आएगी डिमोनेटाइजेशन हो गया, और एक दिन आएगी कि इंडिया में यूनिकॉर्न क्रिएट हो रहे हैं. बट अगर आप पूरा पिक्चर साथ में देखोगे तो आप देखोगे कि हाईवे कंस्ट्रक्शन, शौचालय, नल से जल, बिजली इन एवरी विलेज, ये सारी की सारी चीजें एक साथ होना इट मीन्स, और सब जगह होना. ये नहीं कि एक ही स्टेट में जहां पे सेंटर इज इन पावर वहां ही होना. नो, इट्स हैपनिंग अक्रॉस द कंट्री. इफ दैट पिक्चर इज हैपनिंग, then it's going to affect the citizens of this nation. If they become better, then आपको एक सिंपल एग्जांपल देता हूं. अगर शौचालय बना, then women do not have to go to the forest area at night. Hence they don't fall down and break their hands, and hence the hospital bill is lesser. That money, with that money they can buy a bakri. The bakri can give milk will create economy at the village home. That is what a toilet means, because उसका economic impact बहुत बड़ा है. Same thing is for insurance. So ऐसी चीजें, छोटी छोटी चीजें अगर आप डाल के देखो, that basically means consumer will have more money at disposal. And India first, economic security. So basically, if you look at it, economic security is starting to matter more than winning election. I'm not saying this is the end all and be all. Definitely not. इस मतलब ये first steps हैं. दिख रहा है थोड़ा बहुत काम हो रहा है, but एक improvement of citizen की life में काम चालू हो गया है. And I asked this question to so many people, whether it is the guards or the drivers, के बॉस गांव में बिजली आई, गांव में गैस आई, गांव में अभी भी चूल्हा है क्या, गांव में शौचालय खुला. So आंसर जनरली इज यस. एंड बिकॉज ऑफ ऑल दिस ना अपना थोड़ा बहुत इंटरनेशनल स्टैंडिंग भी इंडिया का बढ़ने लग गया है. Now that I think sums up India first. Finally, I just want to show, just share with all of you, and I'm kind of ending my conversation with you, that अगले 25 साल में अपने challenges एकदम brand new है. So भारत को भी अपना वर्जन 2.0 दिखाना पड़ेगा to gear up with these challenges. And अगर ये सारा अगर true है और अगर ये हो गया तो ये इन्वेस्टमेंट्स का अमृत काल है. बिकॉज ऐसा कोई देश नहीं है इस दुनिया में अपार्ट फ्रॉम द यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स जहां पे 30 से 35 सेक्टर हैं टू इन्वेस्ट, जहां पे अगर आप सिर्फ लीडर ऑफ द सेक्टर ही उठा लो, इट इज अ वेल्थ क्रिएटर. ऐसा कोई देश नहीं है जहां जिसने हमारा फिक्स्ड इनकम ही बीट कर दिया हो पिछले 20 साल या 18 साल या 10 साल में. और ऐसा कोई भी देश नहीं है जहां पे अब कॉर्पोरेट बैलेंस शीट्स आर क्लीन and wealth creation has been demonstrated for 30 long years. मैं आजकल म्यूचुअल फंड्स के साथ डील करता हूँ. मैंने देखे whether it's निपॉन, टेम्पल्टन, बिरला, ICICI, SBI, मैंने लिस्ट कितनी लंबी है. इन सब के पास 25 साल का ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड है और कुछ के पास तो 250 गुना पैसा बढ़ गया है. 250 times in 27 years. Can you believe that? Even Warren Buffett doesn't have that kind of track record. So if everything falls well and if we are headed in the right direction, तो ये इन्वेस्टमेंट्स का अमृत काल है. इसको आप मत छोड़िएगा, मगर 20 साल का व्यू लीजिए, बिकॉज दिस कंट्री डिजर्व्स 20 years ऑफ व्यू, बिकॉज एवरेज एज ऑफ एन इंडियन इज 23 or 24. टेक अ 20-year व्यू ऑन दिस नेशन, यू विल नेवर गो रॉन्ग. थैंक यू. जय हिंद. I'm happy to take any questions if anyone has questions at this point in time. और अगर questions नहीं है तो no problem.
Thank you so much, Karan sir, for the reminder for everyone, which we have forget what happened to us. We say that what happened to our nation. That is great. You have shared, you have put so much effort in collecting those data. Geopolitical means it's altogether different insight we got today. That is fantastic with the passing of this year. So Dharam sir, I would like to just bring you on stage, and I would like to have some questions from the audience. If anyone has, please raise their hand.
I've been seeing the chat box, and the audience is like, you can see it for yourself what they have been writing. They're all speechless. I think you may not get too many questions in that sense, because when you don't get questions, you know that it's a great session that has happened.
It's very kind of people to respond that way.
You can see it's too good to be true. Excellent session, and really, I mean, you just read it, Karan. You can see it.
Thank you.
I don't think anybody would dare to question this session.
No. I mean, in case there's any question or anyone wants, I'll just end by saying that देश पे भरोसा रखिए. अपने आप जो काम करते हैं उस पे भरोसा रखिए. और इस देश को फाइनेंशियल एडवाइस की बहुत जरूरत है. क्रिप्टो ने 10 करोड़ इन्वेस्टर आए थे क्रिप्टो इन्वेस्टमेंट्स में. एन एवरेज फॉल इज 65%. पीपल नीड गुड एडवाइस. प्लीज remember that.
Sir, I think for financial advisors and mutual fund distributors, as you said, if the country is not safe,
yes,
our nation is not safe. So this presentation of yours has given us a lot of confidence that the policymakers are doing their job. We need to do our job of looking after our investors and helping them in their lives.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
So there is a Suraksha Kavach that the policymakers are providing us with.
Right.
That is the net takeout from today's presentation, and therefore Amrit Kaal of investments will follow Amrit Kaal by the policymakers.
Yes, absolutely. When it's in spite of the problems we faced, India delivered 17-18% compounded returns. Imagine if we have tailwind. तो आप सोचो wealth creation का क्या होने वाला है.
Absolutely. So thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your time. We look forward to seeing you several times in 2023.
It'll be my pleasure.
I am personally very excited about that. And I'm sure our 2023 will be, we'll have a lot of learning, a lot of knowledge about the macroeconomics and geopolitical events, which is an integral part of markets going up and markets going down. Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that. It's become an important part of.
So like today we shared a image in our community about corporate Sensex performance versus the market Sensex, the profits of the Sensex versus the Sensex performance, and how the profits also are catching up over the last 20 years. So markets basically reflect the economy, but during the journey, markets go ahead, markets fall back because of exactly things like these only, the geopolitical events that take place, the fear that grips people, and also the greed that occasionally comes in. So I think it's been such a nice session. Thank you very much, sir, once again.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and catch you all soon. Best of luck and a very, very happy New Year to all of you.
Happy New Year to you, sir. And
Happy
we
New Year,
look
sir.
forward to start the new year again with you on third Thursday of
Yes,
January.
absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.